Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to see another interesting tutorial with Splunk. So we are going to see about one of the very good command which is called eval in Splunk. So this eval command is one of the very frequently used command in Splunk. We'll go through few of the ways how we can make use of this eval in Splunk. So basically eval you will be using to make some calculation or an expression out of an existing field, and you will be converting that into a different field value from it. So we will see how all these things happens in the Splunk on hands-on. So before I proceed, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe, like the video, share and comment. Okay, to start, I have a Splunk instance running on my CentOS machine. So if you have not seen how to set up a Splunk on a CentOS machine, please check the video description. I have given the link on how to set up Splunk, the forwarders and server configuration input.conf. So all those details are available in my channel. So you can go through the Splunk playlist, so you'll get the complete information. So if you see, this is my CentOS machine. So I have a Splunk install under /opt/splunk. So I have a bin folder. So if you see, I have all the files for Splunk. So if I check the status, Splunk status, you can see Splunk D is running, right? You can also check the service, because I'm running Splunk as a service. You can check the status using system CTL, so you can see the Splunk service is running and active. Okay, so but we don't have to go into the Splunk server for this tutorial, because we are going to do all the activities on the web page. Okay, so I have this search place here in the first screen. If you will have to need some kind of data indexed to your Splunk to do these kind of testing. So I have some data I have already indexed to my Splunk instance. Okay, so I have some data from Kaggle for which I've used to have some temperature of some countries. So let me use that for some of our eval commands, how we can make use of it. So let me search that first. So the source of the uh, is the file name which I have used to upload. So this will be my source. Okay, and let me also filter it a little bit more. Okay, and my host is localhost.localdomain, and I also want to use the source type, not the source type. Okay, yeah, so there is only one source type. Okay, so it will be CSV. Okay, great. So I have filtered with all the source local host name and the source type. If you have a multiple one, you can filter it with that. Okay, so now if I see, I have other fields, right? So I have a average temperature. So it lists some of the average temperature values here and uncertainty values here. I have a list of countries over here, and some top values here. This index is the main index. So and my Splunk server and some timestamp, right? So the main purpose of eval which we normally use is like when you use eval, you will create a new field, and that new field will have some value from the existing field. So you will do some mathematical calculation from the existing field, and it will be saved to a new field. You can also use the existing field, but what will happen is if you do the eval on the using the same name, it will override the existing content. So usually we keep the same field there, but we'll create a new field with the new calculations and or what we want to do with the existing field. So let's see it here. So if you see, I have an average temperature, right? So let's go to some reports. So average over time. Okay, so it's going to give a time chart for us, right? So if I go to my statistics, so you can see I have some values here. So it gives the time and it gives the average temperature value, right? So if you see for 23/7/2020, 32, 33, 34, you can see the average values is 17, 17, 16.34, 16.16. So this is the average of this average temperature. This is the field. Okay. So now let's see how we can make use of eval here. So what I'm going to do is this temperature I want to divide by 10. Okay, so this should be like a 1.7. How I can do is I'm going to call eval, which is no, I'm going to give a field value name. So I'm going to call it as new temp. Okay, and it's going to be this value. This is the existing field. So if I use this value here, again average temp, what will happen is it will override the existing average temp field value. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to give new temp, okay, or any name which you want to give as a field name which is already not existing in Splunk. And I'm going to divide it by 10, okay. So, and this should be taken out from here because this time chart, I don't need it here in this place. But what I will do is I will put a time chart of the new field value, which is new temp. Probably I will do one thing. Let me remove this and let me show you what it will happen actually. Okay. So I have run this eval command. Now if I go back to the fields, you can see there is a new field called new temp, right? So it has created something new here. So this is the average temp and this is the new temp. So let me put the time chart on the new temp. Okay, there is a two pipe. Now if you see the previous values were 17, right? Now since we have divided by 10, it's become 1.7, 1.7, right? So it's actually doing a mathematical calculation on the existing average temperature field and it's dividing by 10 and that new value is saved to new temp. So this is one of the use case of eval, like you can use any field values, you can divide it, or let me also show whether we can do an addition, we can do a subtraction, you can do multiplication. So let me show that as well. So rather than doing by division, let's do a multiplication by using a star symbol. So let's run this. Now if you see it has changed to 178, right? Because previously it was 117.8. Now it's become 178 because I have multiplied by 10. Let's do it with 100. Now if you see it's a 4-digit number now. So that's pretty simple. Let's do in a different way. Let's do addition. Let's do a plus. Okay. Now if you see it's become 17 as 117. Okay. Now let's do a subtraction. Let's do a minus. You can see it become a negative symbol. So it's like 17 is 17 minus 100. So it's like 82 point something as came. So it is that simple to use eval to do your multiplications or divisions or any kind of mathematical action you want to do. And this will be very handy for you. For example, if you have something which is coming out of Splunk where you want to take some value out of the field, you want to convert into some other values and you want to store it to a new field value. So this will become very handy for you. So you can make use of eval command for that. So you can create a new field and from the existing field you can derive some formula and you can use that into your reports. So this was one of the scenario how you can use eval. So let me remove this. Let me go back to the actual source. Okay. So let me show you another feature which you can use for eval. Now if you see I have a country listed here, right? So all these start with first letter as capital, all others are small letters, right? Let me see how you can convert these values into a lowercase or uppercase. Okay. So I'm going to use eval again, and I'm going to create a new field, and I'm going to call lower. Okay, and the field name is country. Okay, so this is the country. The name should be exactly how it should be because the capital C and the other values, right? So let me run this query. Let's see what we'll see. If you see, we have a new field over here as a country with a small letter C, right? So if I click here, if you see, everything is in small letters. Even the initial starting letter is also a small letter, right? So this is capital L starting, but if you see here, it's starting with all small letters. So what it did is it has used the existing country field, and it has converted everything into a smaller alphabetic number, and it has saved into this field. Okay, now let me change this one, and let me call this field as country, and I'll use another field called upper. Okay, so let's use this parameter. So if I call upper, let's see what it does. Now if you see, I have a new field over here is called country. Now do you see, this time each letters are in capital letters. Here it was only just first letter was capital, but if you see, the whole things are in capital. So you can easily convert your existing field values into lowercase or uppercase using upper or lower command. So this is another one of the use of eval which you can use in your Splunk queries. Okay. Okay, let me remove this again. Okay. Now let me go back to the source. So this time let's see how you can concatenate two or three files together or fields together. Okay. So let's see what we have it here. So we have country names, right? We have average temperature values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine the country and the average temperature respective to that, right? So how you do it? So I'm going to call eval again, okay? And I'm going to give a field value called temp, okay? It can be any name. So I'm going to give temp, okay? And I'm going to give a string first. So I can give anything here because I'm going to give an output value to be saved to temp. So I'm going to write like the current temperature of, okay? Then I'm going to concatenate. So I'm going to add to this. So this is a complete string, okay? So now I'm going to give the country as the field. So this should be like the current temperature of the country name. Okay, so I'm going to give country. So this value will take from this country field. So these names should come there. Okay, I'm going to use the plus sign again, and is. So if you see, I have given a small space here because if you don't give this space, these both values will come together without space. Okay. I'm going to use the plus sign again, and I'm going to give the value as average temperature. So this value will come from here. Okay, so let's run this. Now if I go back, there is a new field created as temp. You see this? It says the current temperature of Columbia is 24.461. How this is generated? Because this current temperature of is coming from our string, and the value of Singapore or Columbia is coming from the country field. Is again another string, and the value of the average temperature is taken as the other values like 24.461 or 26.198. So this is coming from the average temperature field. So you see how interesting is this? Like you can use eval, and you can even create a complete sentence out of it. So this is how you can do a concatenation, because you have multiple fields in Splunk query which you want to sum up. For example, if you have a first name and last name in two fields, if you want to add those together into one field, you can use this kind of method. So you can create an eval, you can create a new field as full name, and you can give first name plus and the last name. So it will add both, and you will be saving into the full name. Now you can also use multiple eval commands in the same thing. So now we have eval temp. So this is stored into temp, right? Now if I give a comma, okay, and I'm going to give a new field again. So this is going to be cap temp, okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call upper, and whatever is saved here in this temp, I'm going to use it here. So what will happen is, now if you see we have all this written in small letters, right? Let's see what will happen if I give cap temp, what will happen. Okay, so let's run this. Now if I go back, there is a new field created as cap temp, right? So if I click on here, you see everything is in capital letters. So this temp is all small letters, right? So what it's actually doing is, there are two eval running in this same line, right? So the first eval, there is a field temp created, which is the concatenation of these values, and I'm going to use another field, which is again called, this is similar to like I'm going to call another eval here, which I have to do like I have to pipe this, and I have to do an eval, and you can run it in this way. So these both are almost same, but rather than using two separate eval, you can have it in the same line itself. If you see, this is doing the same thing, because if you see, you have a cap temp here and you have the temp here. So it's more of like you have one eval command running here and you have another eval running here. So to simplify this, you can just remove this, you can just put a comma, and you can run the two eval command together. Okay, so this is how it will be. So but you see that it's that simple, right? So you can take one eval, and you are taking the value out of it and you are putting into the next eval command. Okay, so now you have seen like how we can run two eval command in the same structure, right? So my Splunk is a little bit slow, that's why it's taking some time to run the queries. Okay, so let's go back to the search. Okay, now let's see how we can make use of some other things along with eval. Like for example, if I want to use if command, so I can select some value out of the field, and I can give something output with respect to, if this value matches to this, it should be some value given to the eval field. Otherwise, it should be a different field. And we can also see, like if there are multiple values we can set, like if there are this field have 5 or 6 values, we can combine some values together. The value A should give an output of something else, and B should give an output of something else. So let's see how we can make use of that in the eval. Okay, for this I'm going to use a different source, okay, which is source access type. So this one, it's more of a web-based output, so we have different kind of fields over here. Okay, so in this one there is something called status. So we have different status field, like 200, 503. So these are like web page status values. So 404, which is an error, 200 is an to give that the web page is running fine, those kind of things. So how we can make use of this, let's see that. Okay, so I'm going to use eval again. Okay, I'm going to call it's called the web page, the field name. So as I said, we have different field values, right? So for me, I will consider if the status is 200 means the website is okay. All others, I will say the website is not okay. So how I will do, I will use if command here, and what I'm going to use the status field. Okay, and if the status field equals to 200, I'm going to call okay, otherwise it's an error. Okay, So this is what I'm going to do. So the new value will be, web page. So the field value will be web page. It will have anything like okay or error. So these are two values it will get stored. Okay, so let's run this. Now let me see what we have it here. So you can see there is a new field called web page. So if I go here, there are only two values. One is okay, other is error. So 940, 954 cases are okay, another 155 is error. So I can make use of this to build some charts. For example, in your web page, most of the case is okay, and this much of errors are coming. So if you click on here, you can get more output from it. What are the cases of failure? So these kind of things you can make use of using eval. So if you see, I'm using if command. So if you have two output, if this matches, it should be okay. If it doesn't match or it matches, it should be error. Now let me go back to the source. Okay, so the source, as I showed, like we have different kind of status, right? So this time I want to make it like 200 is okay, but the 404 is like page not found and some other values as something else. So how we can do that? Let's see that. So here I'm going to use eval again, and I'm going to give the field value as description. Okay, and I'm going to use a new one called case. Okay, so I'm going to use this argument called case. So here we are going to use again the field as status, and it's going to be 200. Then I'm going to call it as okay, but I also want to check for other status, right? So I'm going to use status equal 404. This should be page not found. Okay, and we have some other status as 503. So I'll call page, sorry, status equal 503. I don't know what it is, so I'll put I don't know. Okay, so okay, let me try this, see how what we get. Okay, so if you see, I have a new field called description. So I have three values. Okay, I don't know, page not found. So if you see, out of all this, 954 Ks are 200, and this 30 Ks are 404, and 23 is 4503. Okay, so we can also try to put some chart over here. I'm going to put some table, and it's going to be description, comma, and status. So you can see okay is 200 and I don't know is 503. So since it's a multiple values, you can dedupe description or any one of that. Okay, so you see that there are three values. 200 is for okay, and 503 is for I don't know, and page not found is 404. You can also put some other field here like client IP. I think we have a field there as client IP. You see that? So this will tell you like this client IP is giving status as 200. This one is giving as 503, and this one is giving us page not found. So rather than deduping on description, it should be on the client IP, because there should be more than one client IP. So let me do the client IP dedupe. Okay, so we'll remove the duplicate only in the IP. So you can see there are multiple IP which gives okay, and some of the IP is giving us page not found. So you can easily make use of this kind of analysis to find the details you need. Okay, let me remove this part. Okay, and let's see what we get. And if you go to the description and let's see the top values, you can see you can get some good charts as well out of this. Okay. So this is how it will be, like 94% is okay, and 2.9% is I don't know, and 2.2% page not found. Now if you want to sort these values, like 200 as one, some another field if you want to give, you can also do that. So it's again like I'm going to give eval, okay, and I'm going to create a new field called sort field, okay, and it's going to be case, and we are going to use this field, okay. We previously used status, so I'm going to use description, and description have three values, right? So if it's equal to, okay, it should be okay. Since it's a string, we don't need this, okay, so it should be one equal, and I'm going to call this as one, and I'm going to copy this again, and if the description is page not found, I'm going to call this 2, okay. Let me copy the description again, and if it's going to be I don't know, it's going to be 3. So let me run this. So now if you see, we have a new field called 1 2 3, right? So page not found is 2, and I don't know is 3. So you can use this sort field now for another sorting or a different kind of charts you want to prepare. So you can see this sort field, right? So this will be really helpful for you in a lot of your charts and dashboard you want to prepare. So you can see that first we use eval to create a description, and from the description values we are creating another sorting values like 1 2 3. So this will help you to give some color, like for 1 it should be green, 2 should be red, 3 should be yellow or something like that. Okay. Now let me remove this content again. Let me go back to the source. Okay. Now let's see, in the if we have one more option to do, like if we have 2 3 values together, like I want to make 404 and another 2 values together, into one bucket. This one I'm going to use this command, okay. So if you see, I'm going to use a field called error, and in the if I'm going to give in. So what it does is the status. So what it does is the status can be 404, 50, 500 or 503. So all these cases it's used as true, otherwise it's a false. Okay, so let's see that. So now if I go back, there is an error. There are two values, one is true and one is false. So if these three values come, the value will be true for error, otherwise it should be false. Let me put count over here. So let me status count by error. So if you see 1040 is for false and 69 is true. So this is also one way you can combine some of the field value and you can get an output from this. So we have seen some of the way how we can use eval. So there are more complicated eval format you can use, but this is the basics. You can use calculations, you can use case, you can use if, you can create a lot of new fields out of this, and you can make use of that in your queries. So I hope this tutorial is informative for you. So thank you for watching, and I would kindly request you to subscribe to my channel, like the video, share and comment. So future videos I'll be doing more complicated queries with the Splunk Eval probably. So keep watching my channel.